Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. I am joined by Ben Greenfield, and we are doing a special COVID-19 How to Survive episode. So, Ben, what have you been doing to prepare yourself and to keep yourself as healthy as you can, given the current state of the world?
Well, I'm not an immunologist or a virologist or a physician or anything like that. And I know there's so many people talking about, vitamin C and glutathione and N-acetylcysteine and, sticking ozone up your ass and, all these things you can do. But for me, I like to come at things from just like a purely ancestral standpoint. I think that's where we should start when it comes to immune system modulation. So I can tell you the non-negotiables for me the past couple of weeks, if I could give you three things, of course, the hand washing and social distancing and ample amounts of sleep, all of those are lifestyle tactics that make sense that people are aware of. But this idea of breath work, we see examples like Wim Hof, who got injected with E. coli and was able to modulate the cytokine response to that via his pranayama-esque breathing. We know that deep breathing through the nose can clean the nasal passages, warm the air, which is naturally a little bit more antiviral. It can cause a nitric oxide release, which we know specifically for coronavirus. Nitric oxide seems to have a really good effect, especially if you have your vitamin C levels topped off. Nitric oxide and vitamin C seem to work very well together. It downregulates anxiety and stress because when you're nasal breathing, it's very difficult for the cortisol releasing baroreceptors in your chest to get activated. I'm doing breath work every day, like 20 to 40 minutes of breath work every day. And I've kind of, just in the past couple of weeks, I've changed up my routine a little bit. I've actually taken the afternoon or early evening workout that I usually do, and I've shortened it to just about 15 minutes. So I'm not doing a lot of the soul crushing exercise late in the day, which causes a little bit of an inflammatory response in and of itself. And I've instead, I'll hit the Airdyne and do a quick Tabata session and, some burpees and a quick 15-minute workout. But then I go straight into the sauna and I'm doing about 20 to 40 minutes of breath work. And I'm using a few different forms of breath work, but the one I'm using the most is basically these rounds of what would be called intermittent hypoxic breath work, because hypoxia can have a really good effect on the immune system. So it's basically into, out, 2, 3, 4, into, out, 2, 3, 4. And you do that for about 5 to 10 minutes, finish with a full exhale, hold the exhale as long as you can, and then do 2 to 3 rounds of that.
Okay, so it's like a modified Wim Hof then.
No, because Wim Hof breath work is more, it would be like,
Got you.
It's more like fire breathing, and that's different. That's more hyperoxic training. What I'm doing is more hypoxic training, but then I'm still doing the Wim Hof stuff, because what I do is after I finish that, I'm also doing cold immersion, and so I'll finish that breath work, go out by the cold pool, and do about 3 minutes of Wim Hof, then get in the cold pool.
Yeah.
And so I'm kind of getting the best of both worlds, right? Like I'm getting the hyperoxic training or the hypoxic training, and then the hyperoxia you get from something like Wim Hof. So breath work is number one.
Got you.
Number two and three, I've already kind of alluded to. Number two is heat. Okay, so we know we get the nitric oxide release. We know we get the heat shock protein release. We know we get that deep immune enhancing sweat and detox effect. And so I'm in the sauna for a lot longer these days. Like I mentioned, I've shortened my usual workouts, and I've instead substituted with lots of breath work and sauna. So, when I start that 15-minute workout, I turn the sauna on so it's nice and hot when I get in. I do the breath work in the sauna, get a really deep sweat in. And so heat is one, breath work is another, and cold is amazing at modulating the inflammatory response, amplifying the activity of the immune system, down-regulating the cytokine response. So after I finish the breath work in the sauna, I do about 3 to 5 minutes of cold. And I'm also starting off the day with cold as well. So I'm getting 2 separate, 3 to 5 minutes kind of intense bouts of cold at the beginning and at the end of the day. I have all my clients doing this as well, just on a daily basis. We've switched up the workouts and change the harder workouts, the more inflammation producing workouts, to be breath work, sauna, and cold. So for me, those have been huge. And, whether or not you get, we're talking about coronavirus or anything else, that's kind of a cool practice to have. Normally, that's not something I do every single freaking day. But right now, I'm doing that every day just to keep my immune system activated, keep stress and anxiety at bay. And so, yeah, I'd say, regardless of all the supplements and fancy biohacks and everything else, I think for most people, breathwork, heat, and cold are pretty inexpensive, pretty available, and that's where I'd start.
I love it, Ben. Thank you so much, man.